Yes, sir. Welcome inside a Sunday night with me. So glad you're with us. The Sunday pig pile is almost about to be the pig pile yet again. In fact, I guess we can kind of say that it is because that signifies football being back. And we had week 1 of the preseason where everybody got to play, which we will tackle coming up here literally and figuratively. I guess not literally, but we will dive into a lot of NFL topics after this week of the preseason. And as always, thank you much for joining us. It is always a pleasure, and a reminder to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. That way you are notified every time that we go live or when we have new videos up, which is just about every single day. And throughout football season, we'll have tremendous guests, tremendous interviews, tremendous moments, and tremendous takes. And so make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Click on this button that is on your screen right now with a QR code. That'll zap you right to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, and you are then set for football season. Once we get into the regular season, we'll shift back to that normal 7:30 spot right after the early games end, and then right before Sunday Night Football kicks off. Okay, make sure you get those beam ups in. Make sure you send us your comments, your questions, your concerns. We'll get to those beam ups a little bit later on in the program. Also, we've got some Exhale cocktails to share with you from some D-Alien loyals. So we'll get to that coming up here as well in just a little bit. But of course, we always begin things with your Furious Five. Ty Simpson had an incredibly impressive debut for the Rams, and hard not to get excited about the numbers, about the performance, about the play. This was a guy that did something that is very unique, throwing for as many yards as he did, having as many completions as he did, and doing so in his flat-out professional debut. Again, it's the preseason, but I'm not going to sit here and rain on the parade of a guy that started for a Rams team that had never seen an NFL field before and went 21-25, a $190, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Didn't take a sack either. It was a tremendous debut for Ty Simpson, but doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because this is not about how Ty Simpson looks in 2026. This guy can light the world on fire in this preseason. This is about whether the Los Angeles Rams win a Super Bowl this season. And unless Ty Simpson, as a rookie, comes in and picks up a couple of wins where Matthew Stafford can't play because he's injured, unless Ty Simpson plays some significant snaps in the playoffs and holds on to a lead, completes a big pass for a first down, sets the team up for a game-winning field goal, unless he contributes to winning this season, it doesn't matter. The draft pick was a mistake. And I feel as though this debut is going to end up altering the narrative from where it really needs to be. There is only 2 ways that the Ty Simpson pick is the right pick. There's only 2 ways, and they are both dramatic. One is if the Rams win the Super Bowl this season, or with Matthew Stafford at the helm. So let's say Stafford might have just this season, maybe he has 2 seasons. If they win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford at the helm, then you can wave the wand and say, fine, they did what they did. They picked a quarterback of the future, and they were still able to win a Super Bowl despite that. My problem is that there's no way, unless, as I mentioned, Ty Simpson plays significant snaps this year in a win, there is no way he contributes this year to a St. Louis Super Bowl. Either A, that's got to happen to validate this pick, or B, he's got to turn into a great quarterback. He can't just be a serviceable quarterback. If they don't win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford this year, or if Stafford comes back next year, that he's got to be a great quarterback because you mortgaged a player that could help win a Super Bowl this year for Ty Simpson. He may end up looking great in the preseason. He may. That cannot change why this was a mistaken pick. That cannot change that fact. The fact is, this Rams team is this close to winning a Super Bowl. They are the most talented team in the NFL. They came up a drive short in the NFC Championship game and would have whomped up on the Patriots the same way the Seahawks did. If you are this far away from winning a Super Bowl, that first round pick can be the difference in winning it. They got to win it. They got to win it this year. They got to win it to validate that pick and to show that they didn't even really need that pick. And I know there's all these machinations where, the Myles Garrett deal was then in place, and those would say, well, you had to have A to get to B. Look, the fact of the matter is, everything is about winning the ring and everything else doesn't matter. And the Rams proved that in 2021 when it was F them picks. The picks didn't matter. They won a Super Bowl, and nobody ever says otherwise that, hey, it wasn't worth it. They got the parade. They got the ring. They got the trophy. However you get there is worth it. Even if you send your franchise into a tailspin for 20 years, it was worth it because you got the ring. You got the hardware. Same thing right now. There's no, we can go 13-4 and lose the NFC Championship game, but if Ty Simpson's a good quarterback, it's worth it. No. You've got to win the whole thing because that pick would have helped you win the whole thing, hypothetically. And if he's just a good quarterback, to not get the ring now, that's not worth it. He's got to be a great quarterback down the road. So one of the two things have to happen. We'll see. Obviously, the final grade won't be in on this draft selection for 10 years, maybe 15 years, depending on how long Ty Simpson is a starting quarterback for. But if they don't win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford and he turns into an less than great quarterback, then it will still rub me raw that it was validated, somehow rationalized, that you could spend a first-round pick that could be collateral that you can use to win a ring right now on a quarterback you didn't need, even if he has a great preseason debut. Next up on the Furious Five. Jaden Daniels is getting awful advice. I am convinced he's getting absolutely terrible advice because I just don't sense that Jaden Daniels is the type of guy that would, on his own volition, be waging a public war with LSU over his jersey number. Now, I don't know if this is directly his mom, but it certainly would track considering his mom is so in his business, and at times it seems awkwardly so. I think there's a charming aspect to this bond that Jaden has with his mom. I'm very, very close to my mom. My mom was one of my heroes. My mom gave me a lot of the confidence I needed when perhaps I didn't have much growing up in terms of trying to do this as a career, putting one foot in front of the other, believing that perhaps I could do something that I could only dream of. My mom has always thought in the realm of if you think of it and conceive of it, you can do it for all of us, myself and my two siblings as well. And that has meant the world to all three of us. So I know what it's like to have an incredible bond with your mom that you would do anything for and want her in your life. But it feels to me that this war being waged publicly with LSU is just not Jaden's decision and might exactly be allowing his mom too close to the business dealings here. He doesn't have an agent. And I just think that this feels either like his mom or another family member or family members together or a lawyer, a family lawyer, something like that, trying to do something that is really unnecessary. Does Jaden Daniels, number 5, need to be retired by LSU? The answer is no. He did win a Heisman. He did not win a national championship. The answer is, by virtue of winning a Heisman, doesn't automatically retire a number. There is nothing in the LSU bylaws that say that. If you want to look at Joe Burrow and say, well, why is his number not retired but not being issued anymore? Perhaps you can say, hey, what's going on with him versus me, and work that out behind the scenes. This was a deal with Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly promised it. And then the following coach, Lane Kiffin, if he rips that away now and the kid that wants it is going to transfer because of it, you're setting a really bad precedent for all the other kids that come into your program demanding other stuff and then leaving or holding that over you as leverage because you did it for one guy and you didn't do it for them. So it's not worth it to pick this fight with a guy that's on your roster right now, considering Jaden Daniels is not playing for you and you've got a host of other incredible players that have come out of your system, come out of your program, play all around the NFL and are some of the best in the league. It doesn't make any sense to right now have to placate Jaden Daniels. It's not like he's the only great NFL player that's ever come through that program. And I think that the way that publicly they're getting dragged, I mean, you have the Mets of all teams, one of the most embarrassing teams this year in baseball, posting on their Instagram, posting on their social accounts, we stopped at 4 runs in honor of Jaden Daniels. I mean, after a victory. This is the Mets that are dragging and trolling a Heisman Trophy winner? What right do they have? They're one of the biggest jokes in Major League Baseball right now, but this is everywhere. It's a meme. And it is somebody waging a battle by proxy. You can just tell. You can just tell this is not what Jaden wants. It's not how Jaden's wired. He's just not a confrontational, combative guy, a demanding guy. You can just tell that's not his persona. Somebody is waging this for him, and it's awful for him. He's become a punchline, a meme, a joke. And there's one big problem with Jaden Daniels is that he can't say no to this. It's amazing it's gone this far without him telling mom or lawyer or family member who's done this on his behalf. It's amazing he hasn't said knock it off. This has become a joke. It's amazing that he's doubling down on this. And it's pretty insane that he can't read the writing on the wall. Dude, you're the one that controls all the decisions if you so choose. You are the guy right now that can make this all go away. You're the guy that can just say, enough is enough. Let me get on with my life and my football career, and we can take care of this behind the scenes. We can take care of this another day, or we don't even have to take care of this. But for everybody on social media, from the world of football or outside of football, for businesses, StubHub has trolled them on social media. The idea that you can't say no to what is going on is embarrassing for Jaden. And apparently his representatives have asked LSU to return the Heisman Trophy because he's so bothered by this. I just don't think this is his call. I just don't think. This doesn't feel like him at all. Perhaps I'm being naive, but this does not feel like Jaden Daniels at all. And I'll tell you this. When you invite your mom to be as close as she is and as public as she is, that is not usually indicative of somebody who is looking for public fights. If you are welcoming your mom in, oftentimes what you are doing is your mom is a protector of yours. And there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you're less of a man. But what it does mean is that you are not conditioned to usually fight your own fights, or you need kind of the protection around you to make you feel a certain way when you are a professional and you have your mom engaged in this way. This does not feel like something he would do. I mean, if you got your mom publicly talking about keeping girls away from you because you need to be focused on your football and you don't need to worry about that drama, that does not strike me as somebody who is on their own volition going to LSU and waging a battle. That does not feel like the same guy. So I believe this is absolutely putrid advice he's getting, or somebody's doing on their own and he doesn't have the guts to stop it. And either way, it's bad on Jaden Daniels for not stopping this already and allowing his whole persona to become a joke. Next up in the Furious Five. I got to read some Todd Monkin quotes because Monkin has quickly become one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, and not for all of the right reasons. He is just so hunky-dory that it's quite ridiculous and quite hysterical. He's also the guy that missed the league-wide coaches photo to get his hair cut at the league meetings. He's a guy that, upon being introduced as the new head coach of the Browns, was wearing an oversized suit like he was going to ninth grade prom and he had to borrow his dad's. He's also the guy that was like the 15th choice of the Browns seemingly to be their head coach, the last guy hired in the cycle. So everything about Monkin is funny for the wrong reasons. But when talking about Deshaun Watson's preseason debut, which was fine, he was 11 of 15, $126, and led a pair of scoring drives, which, by the way, happened in a 34-10 loss, but I'm not all about the results in a preseason game anyway. Monkin said, it was awesome. It was so cool to watch him play. I get all of the frustration by fans, but for him to come back and work like he did is an unbelievable credit to him. It was so cool. Yes, yeah, I think that certainly reflects Browns fans everywhere. Deshaun Watson, it was awesome. It was so cool to see. It was thrilling. It was exhilarating. What a feel-good story. I think if Todd Monkin's strategically thinking about this, I believe what he is doing is coming in there and saying there's so much negativity. There has been so much negativity for years. And Deshaun Watson's the lightning rod of the negativity. I'm just going to lather on the optimism times a million. And I'm going to do it for not only Deshaun, but everything around this organization. I mean, you heard some of his comments when he opened up training camp, and just the over-exuberance is amazing. So I think if there's a strategy, it's just he is going to disinfect the Browns by dumping bleach all over the place and going overboard with the Lysol. If it's not strategic, I mean, he's just Ned Flanders and everything is just great and high diddly do. And how awesome is this? And how great is he? And I can't believe how wonderful this is. And it's so cool. And we're great. And this is going to be awesome. And I don't know, man. My feeling is by week 5 or 6, this starts becoming ridiculous because you can't really say things are awesome and cool and the best when you're 0-4. I mean, unless the Browns are shockingly competitive, if you're 3-11, there's just no way for you to kind of come off as everything is great. This is exciting. This is cool. If I'm Todd Monkin, of course, I want to be complimentary of Deshaun Watson. He's been through a lot, and you're hoping you get something out of him. You're hoping. Anything you get out of him this year is kind of a bonus because you're paying him anyway. You're hoping you don't have to start Shedeur for 17 games. Maybe you're hoping that Shedeur takes over the second half of the season so that you get a little bit of Deshaun. Perhaps his stock is up around the deadline and you can trade him, perhaps. If not, again, you're paying him anyway, sunk cost, you might as well. I don't think they think Shedeur is the guy for 17 games. You can't lather this stuff on too thick because it'll just come back to bite you. You don't have to be Belichick. You don't have to be stern. Not everything has to be miserable. You can walk a line, a balance of being optimistic, but also being, tough, or at least being realistic. And I just think we've had early returns of Todd Monkin. Really, again, blowtorch of optimism. Okay, all right, Todd, coach, I got it. Everything is awesome. I got it. Everybody's great. I got it. And Deshaun is so cool. All right, next up with the Furious Five. Support your local minor league baseball team. Last night, I was able to go out to the Hudson Valley Renegades, single A for the Yankees, Fishkill, New York, not far from where I grew up, not far from where I live now in the Hudson Valley. And this was one of my first internships. I was a junior going into my senior year in high school, summer of 96, so 30 years ago. And I was an intern. They had a select package of televised broadcasts here regionally on a regional television network called RNN. Actually, it's where Brian Kenny got his start. Brian Kenny was the sports guy in RNN, and he also was the play-by-play voice of the Renegades back then. The Renegades were a huge deal when they first got there to Fishkill. They had a beautiful minor league ballpark, and they were sold out every night. It was a big deal to be out there. And I helped out on Fan Cam, and they would highlight season ticket holders and crazy fans and the energy of the ballpark. And I would basically hold the cords or adjust the light on whoever was being interviewed by the first base side, by the reporter there. I was the intern on Fan Cam. So whenever I go back, I am incredibly, nostalgic. And I brought AJ there last year with the Bourbon Bell. And the three of us went, and I was able to throw out the first pitch. They invited me over there, which was amazing, and got to go into the booth and did an inning with the guys up there. But then last night, I just wanted to bring AJ out there. AJ is now 3 years and 4 months old, so he's nearing 3.5. And I just wanted him and I to go out there. And I thought, last year he kind of got what was going on, but not really. I thought now he's probably old enough. And we had the best night, the absolute best night. And I am just reminded, because my roots are in minor league baseball. I interned for the Renegades. I interned for the New Jersey Cardinals, who were the single A of the Cardinals at the time. They were in Sussex, New Jersey at the same time. I helped out of the press box and the broadcast booth. And I was an intern there. And then I also helped out for the Fort Myers Miracle. That's the Twins single A down in Fort Myers. At my first job, I did a limited play-by-play for them. And I just have such fond memories of getting my foot in the door in the broadcast business by being with minor league baseball. And it is such a community gem to have something like that. Like, I went out there with AJ, and, it's going to be hard for me to explain how magical it was, but it truly was one of the best nights of my life. I mean, the weather was pristine. It was like 78 degrees and clear. It was a 5 o'clock start, which is why I brought him, because he's usually in bed by 8. So if it's a 7 o'clock start, it's going to be tough. So we went to the 5 o'clock start, rolled in there, got to our seats. The Renegades totally hooked us up. They didn't have to do that, but they put us in great seats. So we were kind of behind home plate and looking right at the batter's box. And we just were able to bond on this beautiful night over baseball. And AJ's asking me, what's that? What's this? What happened there? He's asking me, who is that in the black pants? I was like, that's the umpire. What does the umpire do? Well, he makes sure the players follow the rules. He calls the balls the strikes. If the ball is right in the middle, that's a strike. If it's not, it's a ball. He's like learning all this stuff. He wanted to know what the dugout was. He wanted to know where the new balls came from. He wanted to know what the mascot did. It was, that part of it was beyond cool. But then also we had hot dogs. It was 2-for-1 hot dogs. So we crushed hot dogs. We had a giant ice cream. That ice cream was his. He wanted vanilla with rainbow sprinkles. That's his thing right now. This summer is all about vanilla ice cream, rainbow sprinkles. How can I argue? Giant waffle cone. Gotta love it. We went out and got popcorn. Daddy got a few beers as well. That was wonderful. Delicious. There was like a Renegade lager. I had 2 of those. And then we just had this extraordinary night at the ballpark. And Rocky the Raccoon was up there, and we go up to the concourse, and there's a police officer working security, and he says hello to the police officer, and the police officer says, would you like a baseball? And he's like, of course. And he hands, I guess this police officer had grabbed a foul ball or something that had bounced back around that way and gave it to him. He's held on to this baseball like it's a gold coin since we left. And he can't stop talking about the baseball. He wants to play with the baseball inside. I'm like, this is a real baseball. We can't throw it around inside. We're definitely going to break something, but let's go outside. We'll play with it outside. He wants to play with it inside. He wants it to carry it everywhere. Ends up that the Renegades are trailing 5-1 going into the bottom of the ninth. And of course, I'm thinking, there's no fireworks here. We're getting kind of late. You know what? We should probably wrap up and leave. But he's having an awesome time. We're finishing up the ice cream cone. The ice cream's all over him. And he's got a smile on his face. There's another 4-year-old that's sitting in our row, and he's having a ball with this kid, Mateo, and they're like laughing and having a good time. Me and Mateo's dad are like laughing at these 2 kids that are just going crazy. And at one point, one of them screams, and Mateo's dad says to Mateo, hey, you don't have to scream that loud. And the guy in front of us, who's definitely a season ticket holder, an older grizzled vet, turns around and goes, why not? It's not a library. And it like gave these 2 kids free reign to just go bonkers and scream, which is what they need. They're 3 and 4 years old, and everybody's telling them, don't do this. Don't be too loud. Don't run to the hallways, whatever. Don't have sharp objects. And like, they just need a moment to let go. I'm like, this is so perfect. And bottom of the ninth, down 5-1, the Renegades end up hitting 3 home runs in the bottom of the ninth to walk it off. And you just saw some of those photos. The guy that hit the game-winning home run gets a pie in the face. They're dogpiling at home plate. It was like beyond perfect. And then you also had an incredible sunset. Like, I couldn't have written it better in terms of how the whole thing went down. And I just walked out of there going, there was tons of kids in the ballpark. It's a cheap ticket. It's a great night. The food, the ice cream, everything is just perfect. The silliness of it, the crazy jerseys, the mascots, all of that. If you have a minor league baseball team near you, support them. Go out there. It is such a great thing to have in the community. It is a way for people to come together in a small town and just have a really wholesome, good time. And yeah, there is a big dose of Clark Griswold in my DNA. I am a dad, and I always wanted to be a dad, and I always wanted to have these types of moments. And I just think that like the wholesome part of a minor league baseball game where, you're not kind of inundated by crazy Jumbotron electronic scoreboards. It's not about PSLs. It's not about exorbitant ticket prices or buying crazy jerseys. It's not about holdouts. It's not about the pressure of winning. It's so just about the event. It's just about the experience of the event that it's really important to have. It's an important thing to have in our Americana. It's just really important. I can't stress this enough. And it starts from when I interned there, and it gives kids like me an experience. There's young people working concessions and in the ticket office and in the broadcast booth and at fan cam and in operations or the field level or the bat boys or it gives kids experiences. It gives little kids that experience. It gives the community something to do and to have fun with during the summer. And it's just an amazing thing. So that is my long-winded love letter to minor league baseball. And I just had one of those nights where you go, it couldn't have gone better, and I'm not sure I deserve that, but I'll take it. I will take it. And we woke up talking about minor league baseball today. And, I said, it was great. AJ at one point just screamed, we did it. I don't know what we did. I think he was talking about the team making a play. I don't know which play it was. I don't even know if he knew who the Renegades were. I had him tricked out in his Francisco Lindor shirt and his Mets hat. I was wearing my Mets shirt. They're a Yankees affiliate, but it was a baseball game, and I wanted to let AJ know, this is what we do at a baseball game. We wear our Mets stuff. We're going to go to Mets games eventually, and this is little training wheels. There were guys with the Yankee stuff on and kids with the Yankee stuff on, and that was cool too. And it just is such a great experience all around. All right. I got some Exhale cocktails to share with you from some D-Aliens. Let's cue up Kristen in Buffalo's first up, shall we? Kristen in Buffalo always has an amazing spread. She's always out there finding cool stuff. She's always out there getting tremendous food and drinks. And she says, getting ready for Watch DA Live. Here's my Exhale cocktail times 6, a sampler and a lunch from a place called Ellicottville Brewing Company. And I believe that's where I had a beer that she actually gave me, I believe, at the last Bob's Bar. Unless I could be wrong about it. She might have brought one of those. Actually, I might have gotten that from Dan and John's Wings. I can't be certain about that. But she said one of my favorite day trip locales, and that's good-looking beer and a great-looking sandwich as well as a steak sandwich. Crinkle-cut fries, a little provolone on that, on a hoagie. Looks amazing. It's a great job by Kristen in Buffalo. How about next up? We've got the one and only Matt in Calgary. Matt in Calgary is absolutely crushing it, as always. And look at this. He's out in the woods of Alberta, Canada. He's got a delicious Labatt Blue in an old school DA show, neon green koozie. I mean, and he says, name a better combo. I can't. You are absolutely living life, my friend. And later on, and we didn't have time to put this up. Maybe we'll get this up later on in the show. But he says, got to pack a bag of Booskies when you hike out to the Cosmos. And he has a cooler bag with brews in it and an axe, and has his feet with Crocs in a river. He's got, I think it looks like maybe a Wi-Fi. So I think maybe he's listening to the show, which is awesome, and his phone, and he's just hiking through the woods of Alberta. I mean, the man knows how to live, does he not? The man knows how to live, and that's why he's a proud D-Alien, and we love him for it. He keeps us connected to nature, wilderness, and the earth. All right, let's get to some beam ups this morning here on the show. This evening, I should say, on the show. This morning, I'll be on the show tomorrow morning on SiriusXM. And Ben Spectre Gadget joins us. Executive producer of Watch GA Live. Ben, good evening.
Try to say it. Hello.
Hello. Now you got me saying this. Now every time that I see you, I just want to say hello.
Now AJ's gonna say it too, like every morning if you walk around saying it like that.
Hello, good sir. Hello. So last week we were off. I was actually upstate. I took the family upstate to Lake Ontario, which is one of the Great Lakes, all the way up between Syracuse and Rochester, up on the lake. It was beautiful. We were on the lake. It was a lot. It was about a 4-hour drive or so. And so having CC in the back for a 4-hour drive there and back was not easy. We stopped at Lake Skaneateles on the way back, which was awesome. So that gave us a little midway point, not even quite midway, but a place to stop in between, which was great. Drive was tough. Everything else was awesome, though. We had a great time. You also had a big weekend, so it actually worked out that neither one of us were able to work last Sunday night. What happened with you and the Spectre family last weekend?
Yeah, I'm a new uncle.
Wow. How about this? Very nice.
It's a very exciting time. I've been practicing holding a baby, holding a newborn.
All right.
You got to keep the head up. You got to keep the head up.
That's right.
Make sure everything's going well. But yeah, it was really fun, really exciting times.
It's very intimidating to hold a baby if you've never done it before. You're like, I don't want to drop this baby. I don't want the neck to fall this way. I don't want it to be. And then you realize the moment that you hold it or the moment that you have one, you're like, anybody can hold this. It's really not that big a deal. It's really, you can't break this baby. You can't break this. It's just a human being. It'll, of course, you don't want to drop it from heights, but right. If you're just like on the couch like there's no, or on a chair, there's kind of no way to screw this up. You know, you obviously don't want it hanging upside down, but people get so scared, including myself before I had a kid. You're like, am I doing this right? How do I do this? It's so ginger. It's so delicate. And then you realize you're like, it's fine. Then you just start throwing your baby around.
Hold it with one hand.
Yeah,
one arm.
of course. Totally.
They can't really communicate with you too. Like that's kind of the craziest part. Like they get fed, they poop and pee, and then they go to sleep. And that's what they do.
That's right. That's right. One of my good friends, Brett, who was one of my roommates in college, he's been a Bill season ticket holder for a million years. That's why I go up to Buffalo. He always hosts me. And he's got 3. They're all either teenagers or older. And he said once to me, yeah, they're really useless until 18 months old. And I thought that was such a funny way to put it. I was thinking like, what? So they can't like work the fields until 18 months. They can't like help you like clean the front the house, you know. And then AJ turned 18 months. I said he's absolutely right because they can't really communicate or really do anything on their own until 18 months. And then at 18 months, there is a zip up that happens. And you're like, oh, now there's like a give and take, and I can kind of communicate, and they can kind of verbalize, and they can kind of do some stuff on their own. And he's absolutely right. They're useless until 18 months.
Moist here says that his niece just got engaged last week. So a lot of fun things happening in the DLian community.
That's very good. Okay. Well, Moist Pork, that's a hello to you.
And, start giving them out like points.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, there's a lot of good stuff here about minor league baseball specifically, or just baseball in general. To start things off, Art here says that he went to 2 games every other weekend in Lakeland.
Nice.
And I don't know if you've been to Joker Marchand in Lakeland.
No.
But it's where the Tigers do their spring training games. And in Lakeland, it is awesome. That ballpark is incredible.
Why is that? Is it like an old school classic one?
Yeah. And it just feels more intimate with the field. Like some of these minor league parks, like they're not that big and they're not supposed to be. And you feel this like intimacy with the field, and you feel like you're kind of with the game and whatnot. And it's just a great atmosphere. The weather's great. It's not near many things, but I think that adds to the experience.
Yeah.
So I love that ballpark. I think it's great.
Okay. And have you seen minor league ballpark or games there, or you saw Tigers spring training?
I actually went to the only time I've been there was for a minor league baseball game, for a Lakeland Flying Tigers game. So
okay. Lakeland Flying Tigers. Very good.
Unique experience in the I was gonna say the Florida something. It's the FSL, but I forgot what the S stands for.
It is the I thought it was the Grapefruit League. No, that's not right.
No, that's the spring training.
That's spring training. You're right. It is that's where the Miracle play. And they're not the Miracle anymore, but I should know this. Florida State League?
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah.
I could look it up in a bit. Brian wants to know how many hot dogs you took down.
Almost 3. I was going to order 2 hot dogs, one for AJ, one for me, and then I was going to eat most of his popcorn and most of his peanuts. And then if I needed something else, I was going to go back up and get my own ice cream or something like that. They came back with 4 hot dogs, and I didn't want to be overcharged. So I was like, we only ordered 2. She goes, it's 2 for one night. And I said, okay. So we went back to the seats, and AJ ate his, and it's so funny how he eats his. He takes the hot dog out of the bun and just holds the hot dog itself like it's a beef jerky and just eats that and then goes to the bun. So he's like Joey Chestnut. And I ate my 2, and then I had his second in the car. And midway through our drive home, I was like, because we didn't even get to the peanuts. And I brought the bag of peanuts and the hot dog home. And I was like, you know what? I'm digging into this for the ride home. I didn't get through the whole thing though. I probably could have, but it was kind of cold at that point in time.
Right.
So I could have done 3 ballpark hot dogs, but it was 2 3/4.
There's a small part of you that appreciates that it's a ballpark hot dog. So you're like, I don't know if I could eat this cold.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's not the type of thing that you want to do cold,
Right.
but it was doable on the ride back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Another thing from Brian here. There's always that one grizzled old guy taking score every game. I think the next step here is you got to teach AJ how to keep score. I think that
yeah,
slowly ingrain that into him.
That'll come. My dad didn't teach me how to do that. I don't think Papa Mendo knows how to score a game. I learned that on my own, and I did that like between the ages of 10 and 14 or so. I don't know what age is the right. I mean, he can't even really write yet with a pencil. Like when we color, like his lines are all over the place. He can't write letters or numbers. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'll teach him, and we'll see if it takes. If it doesn't, that's okay. You know, you probably don't necessarily want to be the dork with a scorecard at these events unless, again, like you're 8 years old. I was probably too old to do it by the age of 14. But at some point, and then yes, you graduate to that. If you then are 60, you get to do it again. That's when you get to go back.
I love keeping score. If I'm going to a game, yeah. You
bring a scorecard?
No, I don't. I buy the program.
Okay, but you still buy the program and keep score.
It's if I feel like it. And there was a game. There was a Yankee game earlier this year. It was like a Thursday midday game, and the tickets were so cheap they were practically paying me to go. And I texted all my friends who were around, and they said they were busy. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to buy a last row ticket at Yankee Stadium and go by myself. And I went by myself. I bought a scorecard, which was the most expensive part of the whole experience.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I kept scoring by myself. It was a great experience. It was awesome.
Did you remember how to score everything?
Yes. I don't know. In that game I did. I wasn't faced with a challenge in that game, but
yeah. I don't know if I would get it all. I would probably get most of it. I don't know because I haven't done it in probably 30 years. I don't know if I could score everything exactly right. But that's interesting. Okay, so you picked it up and like riding a bike, you were able to do it again.
Yeah. Well, now they keep track of so many different things. Where for the pitcher stats, they kept track of the amount of pitches he throws, strikes, amount of balks or pitch clock violation. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. Right. Wow. That's interesting. Okay.
It was ridiculous.
Okay.
B Squared said, was Ben was it 1947?
Yeah.
It might have been, honestly. The way I was acting that day, it might have been. I want to pivot to football here. We got some football comments, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Reynaldo here says, Rams fan here, DA's not wrong on that take, referring to your Ty Simpson take. I still trust in the plan. Like he said, we'll see. I'm curious as to what you think they should have done at 13 when you say to help the team this year.
You could literally have drafted any other person in the draft, or at least not a quarterback, and that guy would have helped this team this year. You are so close to winning a Super Bowl. If you draft a running back there, a wide receiver there, a defensive back there, a linebacker there, an offensive lineman there, literally any other position, that guy will get reps this year. Undoubtedly, you can draft number 13 overall and have him play significant snaps this season, at very least for depth purposes.
Yeah.
The only guy that cannot help this team win a Super Bowl this year with Matthew Stafford under center is the backup quarterback. It's the only position. Again, unless Matthew Stafford gets injured and you trust Ty Simpson to be the guy to then get reps and to get starts and to get quarters and win those games. I doubt that's the case, that would be your plan A. My guess is if Stafford goes down, you want a veteran quarterback to step in and take those snaps and to steer you until he comes back. So I didn't like that idea. I didn't like the rationalization either that, you had to worry about the future yet. You didn't. This is about the here and the now and winning a Super Bowl the Rams are the Super Bowl favorites. Take care of the business now. And also, it's been F those picks for 10 years. Now, suddenly, it's really important to use a pick on a starting quarterback? Now, for the first time in 10 years, now it's not F those picks. Now it's we need that pick. Come on.
I think the devil's advocate side to it is they kind of were in a position of luxury with the 13th overall pick in that it wasn't theirs. And so they might never be in that spot for a while. Well, they won't be in that spot for a while, is their thinking. And if they can draft a quarterback in Simpson, have him sit behind Stafford, learn, win with Stafford, who was the MVP. Granted, he's 38, I think, 38.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a back issue. I mean, the guy was put in a chamber of healing back problems before last year, if you remember that, at training camp. And the point is, okay, if once after this year or the next year when Stafford retires, we have somebody who's been sitting and knows McVay, and Garrett's going to be here, McDuffie's going to be here, and there's Byron Young is going to be there. Like, they still have the pieces. I mean, the weapons are now in question versus not being that much in question in April. Puka Nacua has had the worst offseason of anybody, and Devontae Adams is not getting any younger. So I hear you on that front. The other side of it, though, is this is not their pick. It was the Falcons' pick. They got kind of lucky here, and they thought, okay, let's take a chance on having a quarterback sit behind Stafford for this long because we know we're going to be good this year no matter what.
Look, this could work out times a million for the Rams. If they win a Super Bowl this year with Matthew Stafford, or next year, or win both those, which is plausible, and you got Ty Simpson to be his successor and he's a legitimate starting quarterback, it's the most amazing win of all time. I'm just saying there is so many ways this goes wrong. If they don't win a Super Bowl the next 2 years, you can say, well, boy, they could have really used a pick right there. They were close. They could have really used a good rookie or a good second-year player. If he doesn't turn out to be a great quarterback, you're going, you spent the 13th overall pick when you had a team on the doorstep of winning a Super Bowl and he didn't end up being anything. If Ty Simpson is just kind of a good quarterback, like let's say he's Michael Penix. Let's say he's not even a bust necessarily like J.J. McCarthy. He's just fine. Would you spend the 13th overall pick on a guy that's just fine? I mean, I think there are it's so the devil's advocate to devil's advocate is, what if the Rams come up a drive short in Seattle again? And what if Ty Simpson on top of that is Michael Penix or is who's kind of a middle of the road fine quarterback that's drafted in that realm, like 8 through 15?
I mean, Tua was before that, but he was a name that came to my head.
Tua was even earlier, but yes.
Love was a little later, but another first-round pick that we didn't really think was going to be a first-round pick at the time, but he was a name.
Yeah, but I would say if they got Jordan Love out of Ty Simpson, that's a really good draft pick.
Right.
If they got Tua out of him, I don't know. I mean, okay, you'd have a starting quarterback for 6 years, but is that worth it to compromise what you could be on your roster right now? They're so close. I don't know when you're that close why you wouldn't go. We're all in. And now suddenly you're thinking 3 years down the line with this pick.
Yeah. The other thought I had was Bo Nix, but he is different. I mean, he's much older, had way more college experience. Ty Simpson was a starter for less than a year at Alabama.
But this is a good comp. If the Rams just drafted Bo Nix at 13 and they don't win the Super Bowl this year or next, and not because, Matthew Stafford and Myles Garrett and everybody gets injured, but just because they're not quite good enough to beat the Seahawks, or they're not quite good enough to beat the Eagles or something like that. Yeah, taking Bo Nix at 13 for the future is really not the play. Like, you take Bo Nix at 13 when you have to have a quarterback ready to go.
Yeah, and a lot of teams did do that. I mean, at the time, before all this off the field stuff went down, Deshaun Watson was in that range. I hate to say this because he's not Mahomes, but Mahomes was in that range.
Well, right. And so if you got Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't really matter.
Right. I mean, that's an outlier.
Super Bowls.
Right. That's an outlier, but that's the range that Ty Simpson went. So it's an interesting exercise, but I see both sides of it. It really is going to be like, let's just see what happens. Are they going to get absolutely clobbered by Seattle in the NFC Championship game? Would the 13th pick make a difference then? We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of football to be played between now and then, but it's an
Sure.
interesting. I think this debate is not over, and even when it seems like it is over, it still won't be over unless the Rams win a Super Bowl this year. Then it's done.
Yes. It's done then, or if they win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, it's done.
Yeah.
They did it without needing that number 13 pick overall. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think it'll. I think that I kind of am behind the Rams on the Super Bowl favorite thing. Like I actually am not denying that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
They're so good at every position. They're well coached. They've got a great quarterback. They've got a great pass rush. They might get Aaron Donald. They might not. They might not need him. They have now. You're right. The skill position guys right now, the receivers, but they have it all.
Yeah. And to go to the other side of the spectrum, Matt in Calgary said nothing highlights the painful experience of a Browns fan like a Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders quarterback battle.
I mean, they're just begging you in August of 2026 to be looking forward to September of 2027. They're just asking you.
Yeah.
Like,
here's my question.
Put up with this year, but next year we might have a real quarterback.
So here's my question. Why hire Todd Monkin then? Why not just say, Jim Schwartz, you can take your head coaching job that you really want. This is your dream. And then internally, and this is not the way the world works, but just because we talk about it, we want a quarterback. We want a top 5 pick next year, but Jim Schwartz is just going to be our fall guy. So we'll keep you happy and promote you from the defensive coordinator position because we kept you on this leash for so long. And if you succeed this year, great. We succeed this year. If you don't, you're gone. We're going to hire a new coach, have the new quarterback, and then we're just going to go on that path.
Probably because Jim Schwartz is a psychopath and nobody would trust him being the head coach anywhere. He's just so crazy that I just don't think people want to work for him. Or, he's great as a defensive coordinator. You just don't want him as a head coach. Could be part of it. Other part of it is Andrew Berry and company are just trying to save their job as well. So they can't bottom out and have 2-15 and have given Jim Schwartz the reins and he lights fire to everything and it's a complete debacle. And then they clean house from the front office as well. Maybe they're looking to be somewhat professional. Maybe they want a guy that they can control a little bit, and maybe Todd Monkin fits that bill more than Jim Schwartz. But I think there's a reason that Jim Schwartz is desperate for a head coaching job and can't get one.
Yeah.
Great coordinator. His defenses are always great, but I just don't think anybody wants to have him at the top anymore.
Right. I just struggle for Monkin. Like, besides just being a head coach in the NFL, what's attractive about the Browns right now? From a head coach.
You're saying, like, why does Monkin take the job?
Besides just the simple fact of, hey, well, you're not denying a head coaching job. He's never been an NFL head coach before.
I think that's it. I think if Todd Monkin doesn't say yes to this, is he ever going to get a head coaching job in the NFL?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, probably not, unfortunately, and that's why he took it. But it was just
believe me, it's the best money he's ever going to make, even if it's for 1 year. And who knows what the contract he signed? It's probably reported, and I don't know it. But let's just say he signed a 3-year deal, and let's say it's for $8 million per. He's going to make $24 million whether he sucks this year or not.
Yeah,
and he'll never get that money doing anything else in coaching.
You can't say no to that.
All right, those are the comments. Very good. All those beam ups. Excellent as always. And always love having you guys here on Watch DA Live. It should be noted that football season is almost here. We've got the preseason upon us. And remember that when we get into the regular season of the NFL, this show will shift to 7:30 Eastern time, right in between the late kick or the late games, the second windows, and Sunday Night Football. So that hour before Sunday Night Football is when we will do this show. We've had amazing guests every week throughout the last 2 football seasons. This is year 3. We'll do it as well. We've had Bart Scott join, Robert Turbin, my man on NFL radio. We've had insiders galore like Ian Rappaport from NFL Network. We had We've had former athletes like Tiki Barber and Dante Hall join us. We had Sean Merriman join us last football season. We've had Amy Trask join us. We've had so many great NFL media, players, coaches, etc., right here on the channel every week during football season. We will continue that coming up this year, and I can't wait for it. So we're a couple of weeks away from that after the season will kick off after Labor Day. But starting that Sunday after Labor Day, we are all over it. NFL season. This is where you are at for Sunday recap and the best analysis right here. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click on this button below me. Make sure you are subscribed. As always, we also have memberships available for a cool $3.99 a month. You get the insider access to all of our members-only video. And so check it out above us. And we'll have a members-only session coming up here shortly, probably the week after next. The week after this one is probably when we'll do our next one. If not, that first week of September. So we'll have the September one coming in, and we'll have a friend of the show join us, and we'll do insider access and have a Q&A. All questions are always on the table. So make sure you click on this button above me for memberships. We'll give away a few memberships as well in the weeks leading up to that. Very cool to see you guys. Art says, glad you had an awesome bonding moment, DA. Yeah, I really did. And I'll tell you, and nothing like it. Like, you to have that in that moment when you're a sports fan, like that's what I've always dreamt about, like just going out to a ball game with my son and hanging out and having a hot dog. And he's not quite old enough to get it all, but when he gets that all, I'll just be in heaven. But that last night was as good as it can possibly get. And the whole night I was texting my wife. I'm like, this is amazing. Check out this photo. I'm taking like a million photos. Everybody in my section must have thought I was a complete idiot. All I'm doing is taking photos of my son the entire game. Let's see. I ate some peanuts today while watching baseball highlights. Does that count? Yes, I think that counts. Now, it depends on what kind of peanuts they were. Were they the edible kind of peanuts? That's the question there. That's the question. Now I want a hot dog. Yeah, it's ballpark hot dog is always going to be very good. Drunkle Sam says a banana ball game would blow his mind. Yeah, I have to wait until he really understands what's going on, because banana ball, like, I wouldn't even know the rules to that. Yeah, I think if you're wearing shorts on second base and a player strikes out, you're allowed to backflip around third base and then pull down the catcher's pants at home and you're safe. I think that's the way this rule goes. But don't hold me to that, AJ. Don't hold me to that. Arugula, underrated garnish, 4K worldwide. That's a good question. If you need a little bit of green on your hoagie, on your sandwich, where do you put arugula? Because arugula is a little bitter. It can work in the right situation, but it needs to be limited. It needs to be limited. Chris in Buffalo says, yes, she gave me one of those beers when she was with me in the studio. Okay, so that's right. That's where I got that one. That was my lucky Sabres beer from the playoff run. Very good. Ellicottville Brewing. Delicious, by the way. Ain't no Wi-Fi out there with yeah, I said Matt in Calgary has Wi-Fi. Unless he's bringing his own hotspot. Probably not. Those were his music speakers. I've occasionally picked up reception to listen to the show next to a river at 5 a.m. LOL. That's so Matt in Calgary. That's just too perfect. In a river at 5 o'clock in the morning, listen to the show. You cannot beat it. That's as good as it gets. And this is a good one. B squared. Baseball has the Bananas. Basketball has the Harlem Globetrotters. Football has the Browns. Okay, let's get to your feel good Little Mo laugh of the day, shall we? And this is one that Ben cooked up for us. This is pretty good. Check this out. Blue Jays support staff assigned to one of the 12 fantasy football teams. Check this out. The hardest throw chooses first. Okay, so that's how they're going to determine the fantasy draft order here. How hard the Blue Jays support staff assigned to one of the 12 fantasy football teams will throw. Whoever throws hardest chooses first in the draft. John Schneider has the radar gun. Let's watch.
75. 77. Yeah. 77. 16 horizontal. Nice. $77. I think it's south. Yeah. I love their Rodney's full pitch. Activate Sam. 72 with ride cut. You're going down, 71. Go for the injury, come on. Go for the Terry Spiner. 77.
So it ends up that Sam Green, who is the assistant pitching coach, hit 90. Right? Is that right, Ben? Is that what you sent me? We didn't see that in that video.
Yeah. And so he said to Sam, he was talking about. He said, "I think we need to activate Sam for tomorrow."
Oh, that's when he hit 90?
No. In the video,
yeah.
Schneider turns to whoever's standing next to him and says, "I think we need to activate Sam for tomorrow." So Sam's not in the video. He might have pitched before the video was taken, but that's who he's referring to.
Okay, so Green hit 90, and that's why you heard them say Sam's going to win this thing. And so by hitting 90, the assistant pitching coach, who ended up getting the first pick, he represented somebody on the support staff. Kazuma Okamoto got the first pick. That's a cool way to decide who ends up picking first in the fantasy football draft. Have somebody with a radar gun behind the pitching cage or the batting cage before a game, and just having everybody try to throw as hard as they could. That's pretty good. If you go to just a putt-putt place that has like a pitching machine, or you go to like batting cages and they can, maybe if somebody has a radar gun, but if you have just pitching cages, batting cages, that'd be a cool way to decide who picks first in your fantasy football league. If you're looking for a way to do it, who can throw the hardest fastball, and guys just like rearing back and ripping their labrums and have to get shoulder surgery just to try to pick first in the draft. That's pretty good. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight here on the show. Thanks as always for watching, everybody, and I will be with you tomorrow morning on SiriusXM channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Babs is out. He was doing the indoor football championship game tonight in Tucson. So he is traveling tomorrow. He'll be out tomorrow. I'm with you solo tomorrow morning. We're going to talk to Andrew Marchand of the New York Post about all the changes to the NFL on CBS with the Tony Romo DUI. So we'll talk to him about all those broadcast changes that you're going to see as you watch your games, your NFL games on CBS this year. So stick around for that. That's tomorrow morning on DA and Babs, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And a reminder, be listening to NFL radio on SiriusXM once the season begins, because I will be with Robert Turbin. I think it's going to be Turbo. He was named as one of the color guys in NFL on CBS, so we'll see. It could be Turbo, could be somebody else. But I'll be with you on Sunday Tailgate starting at 9 a.m. Eastern time every Sunday, unless there's an international broadcast, international game being broadcast, for your full pregame coverage, every game, every week, from 9 until noon Eastern time on Channel 88 NFL Radio. So stick around for that. All right, we will see you tomorrow morning, everybody, on SiriusXM Channel 82. Be good and be good to one another. I'm DA in the Mothership. Disconnect.